all of, the dead kids they found in the lake. Remember those? Yeah, that. No horror movie ever started this way. That's fine.
Lake Dolores, the magical water world that features the most exciting high-speed water slides. The family fun place that offers relaxation and incredible thrills just off the I-15 Las Vegas freeway near Barstow. The magical water world that guarantees a fun-filled time.
Today we're going to talk about Lake Dolores, later known as the Rock-a-hoola Waterpark. This is sometimes referred to as America's first water park and also referred to as the class action park of the West. This story starts with a husband and wife, John and Dolores. They had a cattle ranch of 320 acres just outside of Barstow, California. At this point, the ranch was barely making ends meet as it was. They were really not turning a profit, and a lot of times they were losing money on this land. In 1966, they decided to make a big change and they switched the land that they had. They switched the acreage from a cattle ranch and decided to turn it into an amusement park. John and Dolores were hearing all about how people were getting really into amusement parks and water parks and areas like this, and I'm sure Disneyland opening only the decade before, only 2 hours away. A lot of these things, they were getting in their head like, we could do this too, we've got all this acreage, why not do something different? That was in 1966 when they made the choice to switch from the cattle ranch to this amusement park. So then in 1967, they started with what they called Lake Dolores. The first attraction that John and Dolores decided to put in besides the lakes themselves was a dual slide. So it was on top of this 80-foot sand hill, and there were no stairs. You just had to hike yourself up this giant sand hill, and the slide was 220 feet down with a 15-foot jump off of the bottom. And of course, it couldn't just be a normal slide. No, you weren't going down it like usual. There were no rafts, there were no mats. No, you were supposed to stand up the entire time. It was a standing slide that everyone was expected to know how to use because it was the first water slide in America, but that's fine. So you would crawl up this 80-foot sand dune hill. Then at the top, after you're exhausted, you're supposed to stand up and slide down the slide, and then at the end of the slide, into the water. Very safe. What could go wrong? 1972, they added campground. So first come, first serve, you could just show up and you could literally just camp right on the side of the lake. And this was super popular at the time, of course, with the youths. So you could just camp, cool spot for hooking up, and just get into trouble. Referred to as the fun spot of the desert, Lake Dolores started to add more and more attractions, like the zip line. So this was a 200-foot long attraction where you would just hold on to this thing and zip line. But you had to go over the sand first. So if you weren't strong enough, or it was too hot, or you're sweating and your hand slipped, you would just fall onto the hot, hard sand and just fall down the hill. If you did make it over the water, you would have to time it just perfectly to drop into one of the lakes and either not on a person or not on the land that separated the lakes. Lake Dolores also added 8 180-foot long water slides. Now these did actually have mats, so you would lay down on the mats, but they were at a 60-degree angle downwards on this hill, so it was not easy to stay on the mats. It was not easy to stay in a safe position on these slides all the way down, and a lot of people ended up getting hurt. Speeds on these slides, since it was such a steep angle downwards, would reach up to 40 miles an hour. Things were going really well at Lake Dolores. Attendance was high all the way until 1979 during the gas shortage. And it was only during that time that there started to be enough of a decrease in attendance to start to create some financial worries for the park. In addition to the financial worries, there were a lot of safety concerns as well, because evidently it was not unheard of for them to just find bodies in the bottom of the lakes. You know, just children who drowned, just find them, you know, at the end of the day, you know, Closing time, am I right? Worst closing duties ever. Gotta roll the silverware and dredge the lake for kid bodies.
Anything that you do nowadays, when you go snow skiing, water skiing, and if you come here, any place where there's some fun, there is some element of risk.
Had any serious accidents or problems for you?
No, nothing real serious, no.
By 1985, the park ended up closing. After the park closed, it was bought and sold by a number of different investment groups, corporations, to try to revive it. But with the previous reputation, plus the opening of Wet n Wild Las Vegas, it was looking less and less like Lake Dolores was going to make any sort of comeback. At a certain point, a private investment group began plans for what they called Water World. They were going to have not only the lake, not only the water park, but they were going to have an RV park. It was going to be a camping destination, and they marked it as a between 5 to 10 year long building process. This never ended up happening, and it was bought and sold a number of different times. In 1996, an investment group purchased the property that had already developed 4 other water parks. Not only did they remodel, but they completely rebranded. They turned it from this sort of gross underbelly lake that wasn't taken care of very well, kind of like a Wild West, anything goes situation, to a clean, remodeled, rebranded, chlorinated clean water park. This was the beginning of rock-a-hoola. Rock-a-hoola was a 1950s, 1960s rock and roll themed water park. It opened on the 4th of July in 1998 with 18 water slides, all named after various rock themes or rock songs from the 50s and 60s. Rock-a-hoola was averaging about 1,000 guests a day, which in the middle of nowhere, driving on the desert, is pretty darn good. The next major downfall to rock-a-hoola happened on May 29th, 1999, when, after a jet ski competition, the safest of times, the jet ski competitions, one of the pool techs decided to go down one of the slides after hours. That means the slides have been turned off. So the slides have been turned off. That means there's not water going down, and also the little reservoirs at the bottom of the slide, the little pools that, like, you go down a slide and then the pool kind of catches you, that wasn't full anymore. You see where I'm going with this? So they decide to turn the slide back on. They thought they filled the pool up enough. Clearly not, because when they went down, they hit all the way against the cement on the other side. They were injured to the point where, after a huge legal battle, they were awarded $4.4 million because of negligence from the park for not making sure that the slide was being watched and that the employees were being protected, even though it probably shouldn't have gone down after hours, but that's a whole separate issue. Sometimes you just do dumb stuff, I'm certain he wasn't oh, I'm gonna go down the slide anyway, screw it, it'll be fine. Obviously that person did not think that was gonna happen. No one I was gonna say no one does dumb shit like that on purpose, but if that were true, we wouldn't have the show Jackass. So after this, at this point, this was pretty much the end. When the park had reopened for the last time, it was already $3 million in debt. Plus all of the marketing, trying to rebrand, trying to make up for the previous reputation, all of, the dead kids they found in the lake. Remember those? Yeah, that. After all of those things, plus then this lawsuit, they just couldn't do it anymore. So they did end up closing. 2004, they closed their doors. They never opened again. As of this point, 2021, it's reported that the park is once again owned by an investment group that says that they want to bring it back again. I don't know if they will, but according to the wise and powerful internet, it says that the investment group is not only planning on bringing it back, but they could open it as soon as 2022. I'm really not sure how they're going to do that because nothing has been done and it's still, completely abandoned. That's fine. Live your dreams. Live your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, even if it's a cursed and haunted abandoned water park. Live your life. All right, everyone, that is the story of Lake Dolores and the abandoned Rock-a-hoola Water Park. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each of you. Please check out some of the other videos on the channel. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.